and we're only 1 minute apart. I'm a minute older than he is. We were both born in San Antonio, and as Ms. Baxter said, San Antonio is actually now the 7th largest city in the United States. It's the 2nd largest city in Texas. And some people ask, well, how did one of you choose to run for office in the city level, and then how did I choose to run for the state? And in Texas and in the United States, it's interesting. The division of issues between state and local governments is such that the local governments don't deal with a lot of the issues that the Latvian local government deals with. For example, a mayor doesn't have any real purview or real say over education or healthcare. Some of the very big issues that matter in society, they have other very important duties, but those issues are left for the most part to the state government and the federal government. And so I felt at the time that I wanted to be a part of making decisions on these very big issues. We're new to Latvia, and so we don't know a lot about the culture of how politics is viewed. But a lot of people in the United States, when they think about politics, they think, oh, you know, all the politicians are crooks or they're corrupt. And especially a lot of young people, they really doubt whether you should even vote or you should go and run for office because they think, oh, that's not going to make any kind of difference in the world. We grew up in a household where it was the opposite, where that was valued. The idea that being in public service and voting was seen as a good thing. I think that just as there is an infrastructure of streets and highways that helps us all get to where we want to go on the road when we're driving in our cars, I think that there is this infrastructure of opportunity that helps people get to where they want to go in life. And a big part of that infrastructure, for example, are the public schools and the public universities that government runs and helps control. And so one of our big efforts, one of my big efforts in the legislature, I'm vice chairman of the Higher Education Committee, has been to create more opportunity for students in particular to be able to go to law school close to their hometown or go to medical school close to their hometown or study certain fields of engineering and get certain degrees where they otherwise were not available before. The opportunity that presents itself to this generation is truly amazing. And one of the best ways, I think, to take advantage of that, and one of the things that we have found very gratifying, is to participate in the democratic process of your country. Because as a young person, you have a particular perspective, a mastering of that technology, an open-mindedness toward other people, an aspiration toward the future, and an idealism that I believe is well suited. A good perspective to lend toward the governing of whether it's a city or a state or a nation.
I have a question about your experience about getting involved in the politics.
Whatever the office is, you have to figure out who cares the most about that office. It's probably most helpful if you go and you run for office in the place where you've lived for a long time or the place where you grew up, because usually the people voting are the people that, the families of the other people that you went to school with, or the people that you go to church with, people you work with. So it helps if you have some base of support, some familiarity built into that area.
You know, sometimes people feel like, if I don't have any experience, how can I get involved in campaigns?
Now more and more young people in campaigns, and this was true in my mayoral campaign last year, were in charge of the social media, you know, getting things up on our internet site, using Facebook, using Twitter, kind of trying to strengthen our support in that way. Looking for, particularly in a young candidate, somebody who is earnest, that they perceive as a person of integrity and strong character. Also somebody that listens to them. You know, in the United States, as here in Latvia, there are people all over the political spectrum. And one of the things that frustrates people the most, no matter what their political ideology, is when they feel like a candidate or an elected official is not listening to them. And then finally, when you disagree with somebody, when you take a position that's contrary to theirs, that you're able to explain why you hold the view that you do. Too often in politics, I think people skimp out on the explanation. They don't explain fully why they believe whatever it is or why they take a certain position. But if you can do those three things, I think, then you have the fundamental ingredients, I think, for a successful candidacy. People will say, well, I want to go to Yale. And for for example, I got rejected from Yale twice. I got rejected as an undergrad and as a law student. So I might apply to the religion school or something just so I can get in. But I tell them, be sure to apply to several schools that you might like. Whether it's all Harvard, Stanford, Yale, Princeton, wherever it is, or whether it's the European schools, just so that you don't have all of your eggs in one basket. A few months ago, at the end of last year, toward the end of last year, there was going to be a delegation from India that was coming to visit San Antonio, and it ended up that they never came, but their mayor, or I forget what the position was over there, from India, had an odd last name, and the last name was Lenin. And so